thought I needed to have these glasses in for this unusual video that I've decided to do, but okay. I don't really know how to start things like this because I thought I'd tell yous about the time when my best friend, who I did love more than anything, could we say groomed, possibly, or catfished me with 2 different people for a whole year. 1 whole year. 1 whole year, guys. Yeah. So you know what? This is a long story. Get comfortable. Get your cuppas. Get your Diet Cokes. Trying to say for YouTube. Get snuggly because you're in for it. You're in for a treat. Also, should I like give like a warning or something? There's gonna mention like, actually let's think of a way I can put that. We're gonna have euphemisms for each. We're gonna put for pumpkin, stuff like that. There's gonna be mentions of sexual wrongdoings because I don't want to get like, I don't know if it's like TikTok, like, you know, stuff like that. It's gonna be mentions of that. There's gonna be mentions of mental health issues with psychosis, schizophrenia, stuff like that. If that doesn't say enough, I don't know what does. So yeah, just thought I'd let you know in case you want to click off or anything. But yeah, so I did just try and film this, but I just completely fluked it. So but anyways, so we're gonna call this girl Emily, even though I've got a friend called Emily Queen, but we're just gonna call her Emily for the video's sake. Obviously I'm not gonna say her name. Anyways, me and Emily have known each other since we were in primary school. We're never really that close, and we're in the same like friend group in secondary school and stuff, which is like the American, I think, middle to high school. And anyways, in about year 10 we started to get really close, and we live like close to each other, and so it kind of just made sense that we got really close. But me and Emily were exactly the same. Like, it was crazy. Like, everything I liked, she liked. It was weird. Like, it was like, looking back, it was fucking weird. But like, I don't know, we just clicked. It was crazy, we just clicked. And when you like that with someone, you just, I don't know. Like, I can't even describe, like, me and Emily, I keep trying to say the other name, did some crazy shit together. Yeah. I think I first got drunk with Emily. Like, it was just, I don't know, like, I'll always remember through, like, that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And anyways, we did everything together. We were exactly like each other. I can't even put into words how much I love this girl. Like, it was, and we'd always watch, like, shows and stuff together. So I'm not going to give you loads of backstory because I think you guys can kind of understand how much we were like. So anyways, we started watching Outer Banks. And me and Emily would watch Outer Banks every single night. We loved it. We did TikToks and stuff together, and would literally do like reenactments of fucking like Outer Banks. It was so cringe, but we thought it was so meant, and it was honestly so good. Like, it was funny, and trying to justify myself. And and anyways, so I remember one time, this is how I'm going to get into the story, because otherwise it's going to go on for fucking 3 hours. So I was on the schoolyard, and Emily, me basically, I need to go back a bit. Me was started reading Wattpad, like any just turned 15-year-old girl does when they absolutely love Joe Starkey, Rafe Cameron, whatever. Come on, we all did it. We all did it, girls, didn't we? We all did it. And we loved like these good stories, but obviously because we're Geordies and that, we're from Newcastle or whatever, it's all quite like, and obviously I want to move to America, but it's all quite American. We wanted something more like, that was a little bit more us, we could relate to it a little bit more. And she came up to us and she was like, oh my God, this lass, she's just started writing like stuff that we'll actually like. And I was like, oh my God. She was like, it's going to be about this, it's going to be about this, it's going to be about this. And I was like, that is the topics we want. Like, that was everything we ever wanted. And we were like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, yes. So I followed her on my Wattpad account or whatever. And we started like, well, not like, I waited, it was about 2 weeks before she started actually posting. And I'd wait, me and Emily would wait all the time. We'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. And we'd read Wattpad together literally every single night. Like, we'd just be like, Wattpad time. And we'd sit and we'd read Wattpad for an hour before we went to sleep. I think it got to the point where we were reading like 20 hours a day. Because it was like, reading it also helped us a lot of my reading and stuff. But that's a different story, guys. That's a different story. It was addiction. Oh my God, I know, I've just got red lipstick on my forehead. What? Oh my God, guys. So anyways, after them 2 weeks had passed, the lass who would be waiting to upload, but didn't obviously know who she was, because Wattpad's an anonymous thing, as probably a lot of yous know. I mean, I hope. Come on, guys. We all read Wattpad. And this was May of 2023. So we started reading our Wattpad or whatever. So I would call Emily every single night, and I'd always read our Wattpad because we thought it was mint. And it was a story, not like one of the imagines. It was a story, so it had like, ended up having like 70 parts. They were really long, and it really had a good like storyline. So I'd sit and Nanny and be like, because I'm quite loud, I talk a lot, and I would just sit and read them a lot. So we'd sit and read them. It was great. We loved it, right? And we'd always be like, oh my god, I wonder what YN's gonna do next. It was like, oh my god. And I would read it to her every single night. So eventually it was obviously anonymous, and I started like commenting on this lass's like things. And I was like, oh my god, this part was so good. She was like asking for suggestions, and I was like, oh my god, you should write this in your next part, you should do this in your next part. And I was like, yes, really getting into it. And then she put at the bottom like something a little bit about her life, and she'd be like, oh my god, I've got my prom next week. Oh my god, like she'd be like, oh my god, like I was whatever my boyfriend, and I accidentally moaned Rave's name, and I was like, oh my god, what the hell. And then she was like, oh, I've got my prom. And I was like, oh my god, like you need to upload your prom dress, I need to see it. And with me, I've always posted on Instagram, I've always liked stuff like that, and with me, I always wanted to be a model. This is gonna get so deep, oh my god. And I always knew that if I want to be a model, I have to be taller, and I'm only 5'5". So I knew like I couldn't do what I actually wanted to do, and it was upsetting like runway models and stuff. And she posted this picture, and it was, you know what, like generally look like a Pinterest picture, but obviously it's Wattpad, and I uploaded it on Instagram, so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think, oh, that's not real, that's fake. And she was tall, it was nothing. And then from then on, of her like always like replying back to my stuff, this had gone on for about a month. I would say it would probably be about June. I would say about the end of June. I remember it being the 1st of July when, and obviously I'd read it all at Emily, like it was, yeah. And I was like, oh babe, like do you have Instagram? Because I thought, oh my god, me and this lass have got like, not close, but I thought, oh my god, like I'll follow her on Instagram, like, I want to speak to her, do you know what I mean? Because she seems dead low. She was a year older than us. She lives in Middlesbrough. It was really close to me, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to speak to her, know more about her. Do you know what I mean? I was so curious. I don't know if it's just me, but I was so curious. Like me and Emily were like, oh my god, like I need to know everything. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, and she was like, I don't feel comfortable giving out my public Instagram, so I've made an Instagram. So she was like, I've made an Instagram for my Wattpad. And I was like, okay. And our name was on Wattpad, Rafe's Pancreas. And me and Emily would always take the piss out of the name because we thought it was so like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Leanne? And anyway, so our name was... When I first started messaging her, I found out our name was Rain Akari Kaneko. Wow. What a fucking name. Wow. She was half Japanese, 5'10". She had a sister called Sun, who was 5'11". A boyfriend called Joe, who was 6'5". Sounds ridiculous when I'm saying it out loud. And his brother was called Connor, and Connor was 6'3". Rain's the year above me, and Sun was the same age as us. And I found out they lived in this really lush house. Our mum was a doctor, and Rain was really, really smart. Our mum was a doctor, and our dad was a real estate agent, and they live in a nice house, which is completely believable because, you know. And anyways, so for the whole of the night of the 1st of July in 2023, me and this Rain girl messaged all night about everything because we were exactly the same. So obviously when I first started messaging Rain, I would like FaceTime Emily and be like, oh my god, everything about this girl, she's exactly like us, she likes the same things as us and everything. And little 15-year-old Anna was like, oh my god, this girl's a queen, like she is. And then she'd put these photos on her Instagram, and when I tell you, this girl was beautiful. This girl was absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I literally, wow, to look like her, like honest to god, like beautiful. She was literally a model. Like I was like, and obviously for my Instagram, I always tried, like I always kind of like, because on Instagram, and obviously I've been doing Instagram and I posted my photos since I was about 12. You're always comparing yourself, you're always trying to make yourself better, and if you're not doing what everybody else is, not doing what everybody else is doing, but if you're not like, I don't know, like getting good photos like everybody else is, you almost kind of feel like shit. And that was like me. And then I seen this girl and I was like, oh my God. And there was kind of this like competition with myself to be like, I've got to do better. I've got to be like, and I'll put on the screen now, I actually will this time, photos from before I knew Rain. And then when I was speaking to her, I almost like made myself better so I could be just like her. And anyways, so I was messaging her every single night, all the time, from July to August, which was before I found out about some crazy shit. So I would message her all the time, whatever. And I found out she did a lot of pumpkins. That's the euphemism. And the only time she ever sent us a voice note was when she was on Mandy, which is also known as, but I don't know if I can say that, or MD, but like I don't know if I can actually say that, so I'm just gonna say a form of pumpkin. And so yeah, and she would send me voice notes and I'd be like, I never touched that, and I'm not gonna get into anything like that because I'm 16, so I obviously can't really talk about anything like that. And she was just very like, you couldn't put her life together in a book. That's the best way to put it. So anyways, in August, I was up the lines and out like a fields next to mine, and I was walking my dogs, and she was like, she told us that she had bipolar. I know you know what bipolar is, hopefully. If you don't, it's just, I don't really know how to like fully describe it. If you want to know, search it up, do you know what I mean? So yeah, and obviously I knew quite a lot about that stuff because when I was 11, some stuff happened to me with like psychosis and stuff, but I thought I'd be quite open and honest about it because it's quite a deep story, so I thought I'd just let you know. And a lot of stuff like that happened to me when I was 11, and she was bipolar, but then Joe, our boyfriend, was schizophrenic on a lot of pumpkins because he was a pumpkin dealer, which I found out about. And I was like, I knew at the time a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know that I'm not friends with anymore that was them. Not the pumpkin dealers, just the people who did the pumpkins. So that didn't shock us. It doesn't shock you if you see it a lot. And like where I live, like not where I live, but like obviously places around mine and everything, and right next to mine, like it happens in my street, it happens, like it's everywhere. I can't even reiterate enough, pumpkins are everywhere. Everyone does pumpkins, well not everyone, but you know what I mean. And so yeah, and didn't really shock us. And then in about, I would say August, I started getting depressed again. I went through not a nice time. My anxiety was just a bit fucked. It sounds like, oh, banging on about like that and stuff, but like, you know. And then Rain would tell us all these crazy things about what Joe was doing, and I was still reading my Wattpad to Emily at the time, all the time, always waiting for upload, constantly like upload, like come on girl, come on. And I think at this point Astro had about 50 parts and should upload normally every night. But through the whole of summer, so Sun, our sister, had been in a coma for 3 months. She was off her absolute nutter every night with Joe and Joe was having schizophrenic episodes in that time, and you would tell Rain to like not take our pills for our bipolar and stuff, and they'd go on these like episodes together where she wouldn't answer me for like 2 weeks, but that didn't start to get really bad until September. So anyways, in September she went back to school and I went back to school, and then that's when my psychosis kind of like started again. I'm not saying it because of what Rain was saying, but if someone, I'll get into it, but you'll get what I mean when I explain, because she would go on these mental episodes for 2 weeks and be like, oh my God, Anna, like the government's after her, everyone's after her, like everyone is after her, they're all coming to get her, like, and I'll be thinking like, oh my God, they're after her, because if I'm hearing somebody, even if we're deep life too much, it can send us in like an episode or something. And it's not funny, but like you've got to laugh. I've got to laugh because, and so I'd be thinking like all this crazy shit, and then sometimes I'd think I was like the devil. It would be crazy. It was crazy. I'm all right now, guys. I'm all right now. So, you know, so all this crazy stuff would be happening. And then I found out that when she was 14, our brother's best friend, Rain isn't real, guys. Let's get this in your head, because, you know, and she was 14, our brother's best friend, ex-ED, if you know what I mean by that, you know, that was a really shit way of putting it without actually saying the word, but I don't know if I can say the word. And apparently our brother went and beat him up, like, they had to move. And then another crazy shit that happened, like, they had to move house because, like, racial abuse. But that is completely believable because that happens to people. That's real life things. Do you know what I mean? It happened, you know. And oh god, this is awful. And yeah, so, and then she would tell us all about that stuff. I know I keep waffling, but like and then in October it started to get even worse, I would say, because I would speak to Emily every single night about Rain, being like, oh my god, who is she? Like, we want to know who she is, because she'd never send us, she never FaceTime us or anything like that. She wouldn't answer us for 2 weeks, and then come back and be like, one time Joe, he tried to kill someone and then got put in a mental institution, sectioned, and then Rain tried to kill herself after, because of that. Then she got sectioned after they did loads of pumpkins. So yeah, it was crazy, and I'll be hearing all this like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to me, and like, oh, what the hell, like, I'll help you through it. And then there was one time that she told us that she was pregnant, because, and we were going through it, like, I say this, but it was over like a 2 week span. I'd be like, girl, if you're having morning sickness, you should take a test. And then after she took a test, she realised she was pregnant, and then tried to, and I'd be like, oh my god, like, trying to like help her through it and everything, like, always helping her through it and talking about life. When I say it was from every single day for a solid 10 hours of my day was just messaging her. Like, I absolutely loved her so much, because I always felt like she was almost this person that you can speak to without somebody actually being there and understanding your life. Do you know what I mean? And Emily, we would wonder all that. I can't even reiterate enough how much we talked about Rain, and how much we always read our stories, how much we messaged her, like, and then when basically that's just an overview of Rain. She was crazy. Like, even like our sister, son, and Joe's brother Connor, they like shagged at one point, in fact for quite a while. Then Connor ended up having chlamydia, and we used to take the piss out of him, even though he wasn't real, even though I think I was talking to these people and I wasn't. And my friend Sophie, my best friend Sophie, and everyone would always try to tell us, like, Anna, Rain isn't good for you. Like, she obviously wasn't good for us, but because I loved her so much, if someone tried to tell us that, I'd literally fall out of my friends over it. I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you are, like, telling me that? And honestly, I'm glad to said it now, but obviously you've got to realise things for yourself, do you know what I mean? And it got to October, my psychosis was really, really bad, and I ended up not going into school one day, which is very unlike me. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, and I was texting Rain the whole time. Telling her where I was, like, being like, oh my god, like, everyone's after us, I'm not real, I'm dead, I need to go, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I didn't have a care at all. And I came into school, and Emily had been saying to everyone, like, oh my god, it's like, it's Rain, what you doing? And apparently Emily was like really, really worried about where I was. Everyone was really, all my friends at school were like, where the fuck is Anna? Like, really, really concerned, because I was saying some crazy shit, like I was. And anyways, so yeah, and I got in the school, and Emily was like, oh my god, I was so worried about you and all this. And then actually, I'll fast forward to January, Phoebe and Adam were saying they were like, no, it was Emily that was stirring the shit, like, saying that it was Rain, rather than, because like, Emily told me that it was them that it was saying that Rain was causing this, and obviously that would get us annoyed. But Emily had planted in my head that they were working against us. So I ended up getting angry at my friends, falling out with them or getting angry at them for quite a bit, which, awful. But that just kind of gives you like to say, overall with Rain, I would say there is no amount of words that I can describe how much Rain properly fucked us on a new level, actually. Our life was crazy, like, mental episodes for 2 weeks, and I wouldn't get answered, and I'd think she was dead or somebody had died, and then I would be like in a mental one, and then me and Emily would call every single night talking about how crazy this shit was. Anyways, fast forward to December, I was still quite mentally tapped. And I'm not going to get into some things happen, because I just think, I don't think I can. Just for not personal reasons. Not to sound like a prick, guys, I'm sorry, but, you know. And I just completely turned into a different person. Like, I was completely anti everything when I was younger, and I was just so like, and now, like, if I'm gonna actually have to show you this is pictures, I'm gonna show you pictures here of just to change the difference. I was not myself at all. Like, I can't even reiterate enough how, like, different I was. And anyways, fast forward to December, me and Rain everyone was literally my everything, and so was Emily. Like, I loved them more than absolutely anything in this world, and I can't even, apart from, like, my family and stuff, I can't, like, get that point across enough. And all of a sudden, one day, Rain was like, oh my God, you should come up Middlesbrough at Mia's. And I knew, obviously I didn't. And I knew I shouldn't have, and I didn't. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then she said it was like she was in New York because her parents were, like, so rich and everything, which is so weird because she has this, like, stoner crazy life, but then rich. It's like she was the perfect fuck, do you know what I mean? And anyways, she was in New York when we were apparently meant to, like, go to hers, and Middlesbrough's not far from me. Like, I could have gotten the bus, do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, yeah. Anyways, fast forward to December, and Rain completely stopped talking to us. And I got 2 weeks and I thought, oh, she'll just be on a metal episode. Got 2 months and nothing. Radio silence. So anyways, when I got to December, she had completely not answered us. From, like, March, she hadn't answered us at all. And it fucked us. I write a lot, and I was literally writing, like, PS stories, like, just so confusing who she was, because obviously I was quite mental. I literally thought she was, like, literally an alter ego. Like, I actually did not think, in my head I was like, she's not real. Like, Anna, shit isn't real. You've made her up because she is so like you. And Emily was even sitting with us every single day, because me and her were with each other every single day, like, who is this girl? And would get ourselves into things, like, thinking of who she was, thinking why she messages, why she stopped messaging us. And anyways, fast forward to March. We're in March, and me and Emily are sitting next to each other on her settee, and Emily was like, why don't you look up our face on Pinterest to see if she comes up? And I looked up our face, and there's loads of pictures of Rain. And I was like, oh my God, Rain isn't who she says she looks like, which I kind of had a faint idea because, like, Jesus, like, Arjuna Lima. And I found her Instagram, and Emily was just as shocked as I was in that moment, just as shocked, right? But I was like, I'm not gonna, I had no contact with her at this point, like, I couldn't message her. And so I was like, okay. And I just kind of accepted the fact that I'd never know who she was. I was just accepted it. I was like, you know what, Anna, move on. You are never going to know who this girl is. Like, and just as hard as it was, I wanted to just move on from that part. And anyways, so around that time, if not, like, a tiny bit before, because I remember when I last messaged Rain in December, she was like, oh my God, you start reading Tumblr, because it was just better. It's more, like, personal to better, just a better place than Wattpad. And me and Emily were still obsessed reading at that point. And in March, we really got into it. And anyways, so I've got my own profile on Tumblr, whatever, and this girl starts commenting on my things. And you know what the weirdest part is that I had a feeling it was Rain. No reason to think that. Wasn't her profile, nothing. And I was like, babe, like, what's your name? Because I was like, what's your name? Like, this is gonna sound proud weird, but, like, I just wanted to know, because I was like, I've got a feeling. And she was like, oh, it's Venice. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she would always comment on my things. And then she ended up messaging us privately and was like, oh, hi, babe. And what's funny is that Venice was Italian, and Emily knew I loved Italy. And I was like, I love Italy, I always want to move there. And she was almost like another person that I really, like, you know, like a person, like, you'd be like, oh, in another life, I wish I could be, like, Italian. I could be, like, do you know what I mean? Like, be from Italy, my fact, like, do you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. And she was, and she had a twin sister. She had, like, such a cute life in London. She was in year 13, so a year above me now, so she would have been 18. And she had just as much of a crazy life, a little bit less, but you get the gist. And in March, something horrific, I'm not going to get into that too much, happened. And I would speak to Venice a lot about it. Yeah, I would speak to Venice a lot about it. And it had stuff to do with Emily. Just thought I'd add that in. So, yeah, but not loads happening with me and Venice. Like, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like, but I'd talk about Rain. I'd be like, oh my God, like, this last Rain I used to know. But I'd speak about Rain as if she was, like, because obviously it made she was real, because I didn't know she wasn't. I just assumed she was a girl that was a bit insecure, so used this picture to cover it up. Anyways, Now we're going to get into the juicy part. So it was me. Now it's me. I'd be messaging Venice, I'd be messaging Rain. I'd be messaging Venice and I'd be messaging Rain. And me, Emily, my best friend, and then my actual friend Emily were in a club. Wasn't planned or anything, we just ended up being there or whatever. And what's so funny is that Emily, my best friend Emily, had went off with this lad. Whatever, like, just quick. It wasn't like anything we had, like, we were going home soon anyways. It wasn't like a planned thing. And she'd passed us our phone. And then my actual friend Emily, who was actually called Emily, she was speaking to somebody else. Don't know who, can't even fucking remember. And so I went to the toilet, which is so antisocial for me because I'm a party girl. I love being partying, I love getting drunk, like, I love that stuff. Like, that is my jam. So for me to go to the toilet and be like, oh, I'm bored, because everybody else was away, like, I like being with my friends. So I was like, I sit in the toilet, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to read Tumblr at past time, because what else is supposed to do?
Hi, Cookie. How you doing, Cookie?
I think my phone, I think it was dead. And my phone, yeah, whatever. So I was on her phone and I was like reading Tumblr, and I could you not, something was like, Anna, like a little voice was like, Anna, go on her profile. And I was like, okay. Looks on her fucking profile. Venice's profile. And it took us about 10 seconds to kick in. Explaining it now, it doesn't seem as crazy to me because I'm quite desensitized to it, but it is mental. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking... I pulls up our profile. Venice. So obviously in that moment when I realised, and I'm not an emotional person, like I don't get emotional really, like I'm not a crier. And when I seen on Emily's phone, my best friend, not my actual friend Emily, was Venice's profile, I literally broke down. I literally was nearly spewing in the toilet. I was like, oh my God. But the main thing that I was bothered about was if it was Rain, if Emily was Rain. Oh my God, it actually gets us fucking upset. Because Rain, Emily knew in the back of her, she knew exactly how bad Rain was for us. She knew exactly how much it fucked us, and she knew it toyed with us because of the shit she would say and how much I idolised her. And you don't want to be idolising people like that. Take it from me, please. And I goes, and I know I shouldn't have went for her phone, but in times like that, do you know what I mean? And I looks on Wattpad. Race Pancreas is actually Emily. Girl, I was shocked. I was so shocked. On her Instagram though, Rain's profile had gone, but I knew it was her because all of our back email, it was all Emily's. Everything was Emily's, and I knew it was her. And I genuinely, I literally was screaming, sobbing, like, because when you realise someone who has fucked you more than anything in this whole world could have ever is your best friend, nobody will ever understand how, like, nobody will ever understand how bad, like, because it's such a different situation. Like, it was, I can't even describe how much rain, like, I think about her all the time. And to find out that was my best friend on that night, I genuinely was shell-shocked. I didn't know what to do. I was screaming. I was calling my actual friend. I'd be like, Emily, get up here now, get up here. And she was going, Anna, what the fuck? Like, what has happened? And she knew who Rain was, but she didn't know to a certain extent. And I told her, and oh, she was like, gob smacked. Anyways, fast forward to, so I obviously was with Emily that night, my actual, like, the best friend, and Emily. And I was just frozen. I didn't say a word to her. I literally didn't even, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, she's actually gonna, like, because I don't get like that. And for me to feel like that is, I can't read it enough, like, that is weird for me to feel like that. And I was like, oh my God, like, I can't say anything. She's morbidly obsessed with us. Funny enough, she just got our room done and it was exactly the same as mine. And mine's crazy. Do you know what I mean? It is, I can say that. But I never thought anything of it. And so yeah, I confronted her on messages the day after when I wasn't there. And she was like, it wasn't me. I was like, I've got proof it was you. And when I tell you, I've never hated so much. It's hard missing someone you don't want to be, when you want to be friends with someone, and I couldn't even look out without crying. I was like, you have genuinely the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But then you learn, don't you? So, and I went through loads of things. I was like, was she obsessed with us? Was it because she loved us and she didn't want to lose us? But then I look back and I think, no. She knew how much that messed me up. Nobody does that out of love. Just let you think about that. But a lot of things have happened that she's done since then, which has been, I can't even know, like, disgusting things. But I can't talk about that on here. But I think that's it. So guys, I didn't really know how to even explain this, but that was the story on how my best friend catfish / groomed me for a whole year, and I went fucking insane. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want stuff like this, just let us know, because I had quite a lot of fun thinking this. Now I can talk about without actually getting upset. But yeah, it was very personal, very into my life, but I like YouTube, I like doing stuff like this. And one thing I will say, and it sounds so pretty because I was like, I don't need to be 7, 9, whatever. And it's not even that. Don't let yourself get so attached to people, because Emily knew how much I almost wanted to be like these people that had, to me, the like, not Rain's life, but I wanted to look like them so much. She knew exactly how to toy with us. She knew exactly what to say, how to get us attached to them, how to never lose us. And that is the scary, scary part. She knew exactly what to do, and she did not give up that lie once, but not one person had any sense of a clue how she did that. Not one thing slipped. I was with her every single day, and I didn't know. And I'm a smart person. I can tell when someone's lying, and that's the scary thing. Be careful. Be careful with the people you trust, because I know now my friends and my family are the best people ever. My friends, they would never do anything like that with us, because they genuinely care. But just be careful, okay? Always be careful. Look out for yourself. And if you have any things that you think are weird, feel free to message us on Instagram, @Hannah_9. Genuinely anything, because, okay? But peace and love, guys.